Hello, good evening, and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers build-up show. The Champions League is back, and Liverpool are getting their involvement underway tomorrow night away at Ajax. I'm just unmuting all the lads here. I had to do something very technical there, but I'm unmuting the lads. With me, as you can see, I have Peter Smith, I have Chris Bracken, I have Grizz Can. Lads, it's back. The Champions League is back. To me, it doesn't feel properly back because still we have no fans in the stadium. But, Grizz, I'm going to come to you first. Overall, you have to be excited that this competition is back, haven't you?
Just about, Gav. I'm with you in the terms of it doesn't feel like proper Champions League vibes, For me, Champions League is so much about going to different stadiums and the atmospheres and the fans and the hostility of away grounds and the hostility of Anfield when teams come to us. So from that aspect, it's been slightly difficult to get motivated. I'm just speaking from a personal point of view, especially after the VVD situation and everything and the way the game ended. So, yeah. But then again, I'm sure come tomorrow, I'll have a proper Champions League belly.
Ah, yeah, the old Champions League belly, you can't beat it. Pete, it's a group involving Ajax, Atalanta and Midtjylland of Denmark. And, as we've seen tonight, there's been some results there tonight that you kind of grab your attention. United have beaten PSG in France. I think Lazio have beaten Dortmund. I think that was your standout one for me as well. What do you make of this group, Pete? Because with everything that's going on with Liverpool, I'm kind of looking at, do we take a bit of a more pragmatic view with this now? And do we look to hold what we have away from home and do the business at home? Or are you just thinking, just go and attack this group, you'll be absolutely fine?
Look, none of these teams are at our level. Let's be honest. We saw Atalanta give Man City a couple of problems for a few minutes. We saw Ajax give Spurs, the fright of their lives, a few problems. But listen, let's not kid each other or anybody that listens into us. We should expect to dance sideways through this group. It should be really about sharpening the tools for when things get truly serious in the knockout phase. I would expect to win this group at a canter. I mean, look at Ajax tomorrow night. They've got one way to play. They're a squad of players who either didn't make it elsewhere or are, auditioning to try and get to the next level. They've got a goalkeeper who couldn't catch a cold. Very good reaction stopper. But, for me, yeah, we'll concede goals. But,
Man of the match
we're going to
tomorrow.
score.
Watch.
We're going to score a lot of goals in this group. Expect to score a lot of goals in this group. I expect to make statements in this group. I don't see any problems at all.
Okay. Chris, do you expect any problems in this group, or do you think it's one of those where we just navigate our way through and, like Pete says, you hone your skills and you hone your fitness and everything else before the real business gets involved, last 16 and whatever?
Yeah, I absolutely navigate our way through. I mean, probably not quite at a canter now. I mean, it might be because our away record's not fantastic in Europe. It might just be draws away from home, get it done at Anfield. But I expect them to have at least a game in hand, and it'd be a dead rubber. VVD or no VVD. I'm not even taking that as an excuse. If we say, the reason we didn't, it's because of this, because of that, it's not. That squad's deep enough to get at this group stage. It's not like we've got United's group. With that United's group, you would be more worried. So, I'm looking forward to it. I was a bit like Grizz. I wasn't actually that up for it at the moment until I saw Klopp's press conference, and God, he was fiery. He's up for a fight, and he's it's right. That is the start of a bit of a siege mentality, and he's clearly wound up by the club the players being written off. Now he says he indicates the press. I think he's also a dig at some of our fan base, because some of our fan base have written us off already. And you know what? I quite like that. They're all angry. I like the fact they've made out that they're angry. They're not happy with the cowardly tackles that put two of our players out. And he's like, we'll show you. That, to me, a club with a "will show you" attitude is a scary prospect for anybody.
I agree. And we are saying this on Sunday night. What do we see from Liverpool after the happens of the weekend and the beginning of the season? And when you look at the way what happened at Aston Villa, and then we have the international break, we come back what the incidents or Everton and stuff like that and the fallout from it, what do we think we'd see? And I was saying to you privately and on the show on Sunday that you might see an angry Liverpool. And, you know, Klopp's press conference today was very bullish, trying, in my opinion, to set a bit of a siege mentality. And Grizz, is that something that you expect to see? Is it something you want to see? Because I 100% want to see a siege mentality now. I want to see people writing us off, and I want to see this team going out and defying everything that's being said in the media and everywhere else. Is this the start of it tomorrow, Grizz? A defiant Liverpool?
It has to be. It has to be, and it will be. It's the first game after VVD, isn't it? It's the first game after VVD, and then Matic gets injured, and THIAGO gets a knock, and so not only Europe but the rest of the Premier League teams, all eyes will be on us. Not only how do we set up, but how do we approach it mentally. I think there is no doubt that we've got the best manager at the helm in a situation like this. Absolute no doubt about it. And you guys are right. Today, Klopp sounded really... I think the word to describe him today was bullish. He wasn't planning around making jokes with the journals, and he was proper steely-eyed. And he was proper saying things that he doesn't normally respond to or react, how he reacted today. And that was after Ginny didn't mince his word. I tweeted a video where he's, you know, just says how we felt, to be honest with you, but without the effing and blinding. You know, he said it brilliantly. He poured out his emotions and emotions and feelings, but without the effing and blinding. And I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to be energized. I think it's going to be fresh legs in midfield. I think each player is going to be so focused. I think you're right. I think, you know, it's probably a good game. It's probably a good game to get us going again. I think Peter said they only know one way to play. And it may be that we have to start resorting to tactics that we can play as well, if not better than anyone, which is, you want to start all-out attack? We will show you all-out attack. So, listen, we can play in any way any team wants to play to us, against us. You know, we can dictate, we can take a backseat, we can play counter-attack football. But I've got a feeling tomorrow we're gonna go out on an all-out attack. I know there has been times where we've gone away from home and it's been sort of limp, and we've tried to just control the game with the Brexit midfield. You know, I think it's going to be totally different tomorrow. I think we're going to get mad scores, Gav. You know, like we've been getting in the Premier League. I think they're going to continue in this Champions League group, especially our one.
Do you know something, Pete? You know, we're talking about the goalkeeper situation, and that's fine. Excuse me. And we're talking about the centre-half situation, because that's fine as well. And then because of the centre-half situation, it's knocking onto midfield, because we're considering a midfielder going back into centre-half, i.e. Fabinho. Are we guilty of making too much of this, or expecting... Like, I expect an angry Liverpool just because of what's being said about them. But are we making too much of this, and we're expecting something too radical from the team, or do you feel that we'll go out and we'll just play our game as normal with different personnel, and they just have to stand up and play? Because I get the impression that people are looking for some sort of radicalised Liverpool because of the issues they have at the moment. Whereas I think it's just going to be, no, we'll just, listen, we're very good at what we do. We're going to continue to do that. And we're just going to have different personnel to do it. And they have to do it, because they're all around long enough, Pete, to know the system and know how we play, regardless of whether you're putting a centre-back, deep line midfield, or playing out wide. It doesn't matter. You know how it works.
Yeah, it's not radical, though, to expect a human reaction. I mean, I think a lot of people forget that they're dealing with human beings when you're talking about Liverpool Football Club or any football club. You know, you watch... I think Jeannie Wijnaldum summed it up today. You know, the frustration of having to watch players deliberately go out. You know, I questioned whether Pickford, you know, could do anything deliberately. To be honest, I think he's an idiot. But recklessly, and certainly Richarlison deliberately go out to injure teammates. Now, another byproduct of that is that all the lads have been listening to over the last couple of 48 hours to 72 hours is, oh, this team is finished without Virgil van Dijk, you know. So the lads are looking at each other going, well, you know, our own fans don't seem to rate us. So I would expect it's not radical in the approach will be the same, but expect sharpness, expect fellas to be, popping their collars, expect fellas to be on the front foot, expect the performance. I wouldn't like to be managing Ajax tomorrow night. A team that has a magnificent big stadium, suits up. Now they don't have there, but that big wide open pitch, if I was that Ajax manager, I would be tempted to do something that they don't do at home, and that's play a couple of defensive midfielders to try and stifle us or try to double up on fullbacks. But they won't. They won't do that. I expect that. Don't be surprised if it's a very high scoring game on one side, and they might surprise us defensively. Defensively, by, dare I say, we're keeping it down to 1 or even 0 goals. But I expect Liverpool to score 3 or 4 goals tomorrow night. Definitely. But it's not radical to expect a human reaction to being criticised as not good enough to fill Virgil van Dijk's shoes. A lot of the lads would be stung over that. These guys are professionals. They're paid a hell of a lot of money. They're in that squad because they're the best at what they do. So they're not Virgil van Dijk. I think sometimes we think about Barcelona last season, for example. The Champions League run the season beforehand. Who were we missing? We were missing 4 or 5 of our top players.
Firmino.
If you look at that
Salah.
video, do you know what I mean? If you look at that video, look back at that game, you forget that are missing, and the fellas that stood up. I mean, when fellas have to stand up, I think somebody made the point a few minutes ago that everybody knows how we play. You've been watching the way the team shapes up, how we play without the ball. I expect the lads to know their jobs. Don't get too carried away. And he's missing. Yeah, Van Dijk's a big blow. Would be a big blow to anybody. But this is Liverpool for a number of years, and it wouldn't be Liverpool if it wasn't complicated.
Chris, no one's arguing how good Virgil van Dijk is. He's outrageous, But and I'm not saying that if you're going into a game with, say, if you've everyone fit, you're going in with, for argument's sake, Matip and VVD, right? But you will get. I don't think Matip will be the type that would turn around right now. I know Matip is missing tomorrow, so it's probably not a great example. But what I'm saying is, if you have a centre half that's the odd man out in that three, okay, he's probably thinking, oh, well, I want to play, I should be playing. Now, he's not saying he should be playing instead of Virgil van Dijk, but he should feel he's in the team some way. Now, the opportunity is there now. And we always go on about, this fella, it's his time to prove himself. But it really is now, Chris. It really is, because it's not a case of, I only got in for 3 or 4 games and I was finding my feet. Like, this is a 6 month. This is a 6 month contract you're on now to step into someone's shoes and stand up and do it. Like, are you concerned with the players that we're missing, that what we have to come in aren't up to it, or do you think no, they're absolutely up to it and now is the time to show it?
Ability wise, they're up to it. I mean, I don't worry about Joe Gomez and Matip ability wise. I don't. I think that they're both very good centre backs. Gomez is probably one of the quickest centre backs we have. The worry you have with it at the moment is Matip is the most fragile centre back I think we've ever had. I mean, look, he's played 1 game and already we're worried that he's picked up a niggle already. And Gomez, he's only 23. He's just out of form. And now, what I'm hoping for Joe Gomez is he now knows he's going to have to play. Regardless of what happens, he has to play. So that pressure of holding your place is a little bit off him. So I'm hoping that he's going to now do what he did in the FA Cup derby, where he was the senior man. He led a back 4 of Nat Phillips, Nico Williams, and Lucci. The most inexperienced back 4 you could have. And he led that back 4 very, very well with Adrian behind him. So, so he can do it. He has got the leadership qualities. So I hope that's going to bring that out with him. And he's actually going to, sort of kick himself back into the Joe Gomez that we have. Look, Fabinho centre half, we've seen him play there. I'm fine with him playing there. I would much prefer him centre mid. He's brilliant there, but we are where we are. I think some of the fallout is understandable. In the summer, this is not hindsight. There was concerns of it would have been nice to have another centre back, not to play Van Dijk. You can't legislate for Van Dijk getting injured. That's just, it's one of them. You can't legislate for it. It would have been nice to have someone who was just a bit of a Lovren upgrade. And I think if we had a bit of a Lovren upgrade in the squad, you know, I think half the upset we've seen would probably disappeared a little bit. But I think we're okay with it. Put it this way: if you don't perform, you'll see probably a bigger name coming in January, and that will then put you in your place where you are.
Absolutely. Brian Murray says we just cannot afford any more injuries at centre-back area. That's the big worry. I'd even go as far as to say we can't afford any injuries, but we can't afford any dips in form. You know, and that's what's probably thrown at Joe Gomez most, is the dip in form rather than the injuries, because the injuries he has suffered for Liverpool have been impact injuries, and if he can stay away from them, he's generally fit. So it's a mix of injuries and form, I think, as well. Grizz, I think we're going to see a hell of a lot of Joe Gomez and Fabinho at centre half. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, Matip doesn't play. He plays the derby last season and doesn't play until the derby this season, am I right? And then he's gone for a scan after the derby, and now he's not playing tomorrow. And so I think you're going to see an awful lot of Joe Gomez. Now, Grizz, I know you're an advocate, and I know Peter is as well, of Fabinho at centre back. And I know he's about to be iffy over Joe Gomez. So when you look at this, Grizz, does Joe Gomez need to step up to the plate? Not form-wise only, but he needs to do it in a leadership sort of way, because Virgil van Dijk was the leader of that defence, but you know what I mean? Like, with him gone, I don't think you can even expect Fabinho to be one. I think you need the natural centre-half to be the leader of your back four, because positionally, the way we play, he knows it inside out. How big is this for Joe Gomez now, Grizz? Because you're going to see a hell of a lot of him with Fabinho.
Yeah, we are going to see a lot of him. Basically, because Matip is our Ledley King now, isn't he? He's officially our Ledley King, where he's magnificent when he plays. When he doesn't play, just wrap him up in cotton wool and make sure he doesn't even train if that needs be. You know, just fucking play him in the games, man. Just, we need Matip in every single game. Forget playing him in midweek games, you know. So that does leave Fabinho and Gomez. I'm still gonna say, I know you said that I'm not a big fan of Gomez. I'm not a big fan of Gomez, obviously, currently, and this was the criticism I had of him 2 years ago. Do you remember we had this debate about him a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And my only criticism of him then is the same now, which is slightly worrying, in that it's the same flaws I thought he had in his game 2 years ago, which he's got it now, which is concentration, you know, and just sort of reading the play. I've said so many times, he's so elite physically that when he's slightly out of position, we don't notice it, because he's like a greyhound when he gets back in there. I know Chris said he's one of the fastest centre backs. I think he's the quickest centre back in the Premier League. So, you know, that's why we don't sometimes see how out of position he can be in. But, you know, it's like the old cliche: if there's any time to step up, it's now. He's got to mature. I know you're saying, will he step up and sort of turn into become more of a leader? I don't know if he's got that in his game, and I've said this before as well. I don't think that's one of his characteristics, his personality trait, in terms of he's a loud, aggressive organizer. He's just not that type of player. He's your silent assassin types. You know, you give him a job to do, you give him a man to mark. You put him next to someone who just keep talking to him, and I think that's going to be Robbo. I think Robbo's going to take that mantle. Robbo, we know, is a chirpy player anyway, but he's going to have to. Robbo's going to be the one that's going to even become more louder, become more vocal, become more of an organizer. Fabinho, I think, can do that role. Fabinho's got in his makeup to be, once he gets comfortable in that position, which he will with the amount of games he's going to play, he's going to have to assume the role of leader. Gomez is going to have to concentrate on doing his own job, Gav. I truly believe that. And if we get Gomez back to the form he showed in the majority of the season last season and the end of the previous season, then there's no qualms. Fitness is obviously, you know, it's all about luck. Anything can happen fitness-wise. But his overall fitness-wise, he's fine. Alongside Matip or Fabinho, I wouldn't see an issue. for either one of them. But in terms of him assuming this role of leader or increasing his sort of, his method of communication and how loud he is, I'm not sure if that's in his makeup, but he may surprise us and turn out to be, this mini Virgil van Dijk that we're clamoring for.
Do you know, the target for a lot of teams is down that side. And I think Trent gets a bit of a raw deal because Trent is expected to be up the top of the pitch creating. And then if we lose the ball, he's expected to be standing at right back immediately and covering everything. I think he gets a bit of a raw deal on that. That's genuinely how I feel. When people go, well, look what happened to Trent. And I'm going, mate, he's running 80 yards back trying to get back because his game is... Trent Alexander-Arnold's game is basically from 10 yards from the opposition's goal to about 40 yards from the opposition's goal. The vast majority of it. And he's constantly asked to stay there. And then you say, oh, well, he played one in behind him. Well, listen, he's only one fella. And don't get me wrong, he can get done defensively, but I think he gets a bit of a hard time over it. I agree with you on Robertson Grizz. I think he is a leader. I think he's captain of Scotland, but he's very vocal. He works so hard. He lets his actions do his talking, if you know what I mean. In the intensity of how he plays. But for me, it's absolutely crucial that Gomez, like somebody said there to me, he just needs to do what he's meant to do, and that's step up and be a centre back. And I think he does. I think he absolutely does, and I think it will affect people around him if he does. Fabinho especially, and Trent. But Pete, when you look at this, are we getting a bit too down over this? Are we reading a bit too much into it? Because, like, we're going to name teams later, and I look at it and go, absolutely fine, absolutely, utterly fine. Is there any big worries for you in the situation we're in, or do you think we can cope? I think Pete's frozen there. He is. We get him back in a couple of seconds.
I thought you were thinking of an answer.
Hold on, I'll just remove him there for a minute, and we'll get him back in a second. Chris, I'll come to you, and we'll try to get Peter back in. Hold on.
Are you back?
Yeah, no, he's not back. I don't know what's happening with Pete there. He might need to just leave and come back in, so I'll remove him there and we'll talk about this. But Chris, I'll come to you. We look at the players that we're missing. We are missing Alisson. We are missing Virgil van Dijk. It looks like Matip is missing. THIAGO is missing. It looks like Keita will be back. But other than that, it's the defensive end of the pitch. Do we go more pragmatic in this, or do we look and say, no, do you know what? We just play to our strengths. Our strengths were defensively and attacking wise. Our weakness is probably in defence now. So do we just load everything on attack and see how we get on?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there is always this talk, which we have trialled during the season, 4-2-3-1. So if you play two of Gene and Henderson for the back four, that kind of negates a little bit of the pressure on the two centre backs, and it takes a little bit of pressure off the two full backs. And then you've got the four in front, which would be our front three, and then the extra attacker could be, we could throw a Jota in there, or you could throw a Keita in there. And I think that kind of negates a little bit. I think the other thing that'll help Gomez is, I think Gomez is probably going to play on the left a lot in the VVD role, because he's not a natural left footer. I think actually that's probably going to do some good. That'll probably help with the concentration issue, because he's got to play on his weaker side.
That's a fair point.
Grizz, I can see you, mate.
Yep.
Bracky, I can see you. And I can see a very worried Gav.
Yeah, no, you're okay. You're back there. You seem to be back. There was a little issue there. That's a fair point, though. Gomez could go left-hand side, and you put, if as we talked about Robertson being a leader, you put him in there. Gomez, it's changed the scenery for Gomez, and it does maybe heighten his concentration because he is playing on his wrong side. And Fabinho, just the natural player he is and defensively minded, how good he is, I think it might be a help for Trent. I think that's
when Brendan. Just a quick point on that. When Brendan Rodgers, Chris may know, or any one of you may know, Brendan Rodgers first played him at left back, didn't he?
Yes.
When he brought him into the team. And one of the reasons he cited for that was to improve his defensive ability, his reading of the game. As Chris says, naturally you concentrate more when you're on your weaker side. It's natural, But also Fabinho, every time he's played centre back, has played in that right centre back role, and he's played it magnificently every time he's played there. So I think it would be less of a risk to change that sort of, because he's not your natural centre back, you know. So I think it would make sense. I mean, after all of us saying this, they probably play the other way around tomorrow. But I definitely say Chris has got a very good point there. I think Gomez will play on the left centre back row and Fabinho on the right.
I genuinely never even thought about that. I just thought just
We're
do a straight
football
swap.
men. We're football men,
Well, well, you are. I'm not. I'm too busy pricing up cans. Especially with lockdown.
It does ask the question then, which side for Liverpool do you target? Because everyone targets the right, because Trent's there, Gomes there, basically goes.
Well, it probably takes that out, because, you know, I just don't think people attack Robertson. I just don't. I think he's very, very good defensively. I think his position is very good. Usually, when you see a mistake from Robertson, it's probably, and it's very rare, if the likes of the one against Arsenal, it's just a lack of concentration for a split second. He tries to do something and it doesn't come off because he probably went with his wrong foot on it or something like that.
Kick or clearance or something.
Yeah,
something. It's never sufficient.
Yeah, but so for me, it makes sense, like what you are all saying, and as Grizz says, you know, move him over there. And Brendan Rodgers did do that with him when he first came in at 17 years of age. He played him at left back. He gave away a penalty at Old Trafford, I remember, I think. But it does solve a problem in that Fabinho just naturally goes in where he has played, and it kind of closes off the avenue to get at Trent, because I genuinely think Fabinho will be an excellent cover for Trent. And what I mean by that is, any of those balls over the top, Fabinho's going to see them all day. That's his job in football, is to see passes before they happen and get in the way of them, you know, and cut off passing lanes and intercept. So even whether he's intercepting in the middle of the park or he's intercepting 30 yards back, I think he's an absolute master at it. So it's a very good point. It's one I didn't think of. I'm not going to take credit because I'm not like that. Well done, lads. Big gold stars for you on that one. Getting into it, I want to talk about Ajax, because a couple of people in the chat believe that we're underestimating Ajax a little bit, and I have to be honest with you. They played Herenveen at the weekend. All right, they won 5-1, and I was looking at the lineup, right, and you have Daley Blind in there, Tagliafico, a left back. I think he's a decent player. You've David Klaassen, you've Gravenberch, you've Tadic, David Neres and Lassana Traore was in their team. On the bench, you've Quincy Promes, you've Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. When I read the name, I was like, nah, that's a mess. Is he still bleeding going? But he is.
There's a goal machine, now.
Yeah,
Petr Cech's back, and if it's possible.
Yeah, Petr Cech is back in the Chelsea squad. God love Kepa. But are we underestimating Ajax a little bit, Grizz? Because listen, they churn out players. They absolutely churn them out. You know, youth players coming into their first team, making big names for themselves and leaving. The likes of De Ligt, Danny van der Beek. You know, there's the names go on and on and on for the last many years. I don't know, 20, 30 years at this stage. Are we underestimating them a bit, Grizz? Because, like, as much as we can say we can sort this problem and sort that problem, and we still have an absolutely awesome attacking three and a midfield that can do an absolute job on you. You know, they'll be going into this with a bit of confidence after seeing what's happened to Liverpool over the last couple of weeks and saying, we can get at these, you know, they're decent and you know, they're at home. I know it's an empty stadium, but could we underestimate these a little bit? And, you know, do we need to really keep our eye on the ball?
We can underestimate them as much as we want. I don't think Klopp and his team will. That's why I'm confident. That's why I'm sort of so buoyant about tomorrow now suddenly, because I just don't think there's any room for any complacency with us at the moment. You mentioned some of their star men or some of the new stars. They've got handy players there, man. I mean, David Neres, how he's still there is a mystery. An absolute wonderful winger, you know, Brazilian, very tricky. They've got a young lad called Mohamed Kudus who they rate so highly that he's been labelled the new Clarence Seedorf. I mean, you can't get a higher accolade than that, can you? Sort of, you know. And they've got wily old fox Daley Blind there. That left back that you pronounced perfectly. Say it again for me.
Tagliafico.
Yeah, that's the one.
I was talking to Keith Plunk earlier. That sort of shit.
That's why you got there first.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tagliafico scouted very heavily by a lot of teams. Chelsea obviously went for Ben Chilwell instead, but a fantastic player. They've also got a centre back called Pierre Schurz, who we were very interested in as well. So the talent is always there. It's the school of excellence, isn't it, in terms of replacing talent, so to speak. They churn them out. You know, there's no worry for Ajax as a club in terms of churning out talent. But that talent, if this is as talented as any of the previous teams, then wow, because it doesn't matter how talented you are, it does take a couple of years to reach their peak. And they're at the very initial early stages of this sort of rebuild, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll be too strong and too ready for them. You're right. If we had any other manager or if it was any other team, you're right. People could say, you're underestimating Ajax. But with our setup, with our coach, with our players, I don't see any underestimating happening.
I don't either. It's just, you know, a lot of people saying we're underestimated. Then a lot of people are saying we'll just beat them. Pete, you know, we've named a couple of players there, and you know, well, Lex Van Empel says Ajax sucks this season. I think they've won 4 of their first 5 league games. But when you look at these, like, you know, if you put David Neres, you have Traore or Huntelaar or Tadic, especially, who's been really good for them since he went there, and Quincy Promes, for argument's sake, that's a very, very decent front line. You know, now I would say that I like that left back. Shores is a young centre half, isn't he? Daley Blind is a very, very good footballer, but I think he can be got at in a massive way. So to me, it just looks like they could be dangerous, but we could blow them away, Pete.
I think there's 2 things you have to consider. You have to respect anyone that's, for example, we always have problems. You go to the likes of Red Star Belgrade, for example, you know, whatever they're called now, and some unpronounceable name. You know, when you're up against a team that just doesn't lose at home, you need to consider those things. There's no point and Klopp, far more experienced than any of us, he won't go there all guns blazing. He will be conservative. He'll feel them out for a little while, and we'll do what we always do. We will give them the respect of being top opposition when we arrive there. The thing I find with Ajax, looking at them, I think they have one way to play, and I really admired it. And I think if you look at the trend of the players that have come and gone down the years, if you look back 20 years in the mid-90s, they were selling players, you know, to Barcelona, to AC Milan, and those players were going straight into the teams and making differences at those clubs. Now I'm finding over the last 7 or 8 years, players are leaving Ajax and they're sitting on benches and struggling to make differences at clubs. And that tells me one thing. It's not that they're bad players, because the academy hasn't disintegrated all of a sudden.
Adaptability.
It's that they have one way to play. And I think managers are taking these players saying, okay, we don't play 4-3-3 with stretched wingers, you know, purely attacking, you know, and feeding into a classic number 9. We bring players behind the ball when we don't have it. And I think managers struggle with the lack of adaptability. Ajax have a very, very, very definitive way to play, and I think it's that's their Achilles heel. For example, their goalkeeper Onana, who nobody has mentioned so far, I think is a particular weakness. He's like a sweeper, but you'll very rarely see him catch it. You won't see him dominating that in the air, and things bounce off him. And you know, in the Spurs game, in particular, you know, the Spurs capitalized on that in their tie, on the fact that they were expecting things to cannon off him. They, you know, and next, well, you know, they scored early against Spurs, and they didn't know how to shut up shop. So for me, we go with an energetic midfield tomorrow, and we smother the absolute life out of them, and we punish them for their mistakes and the naivety coming forward, and we win by a couple of goals. I'm not saying that Ajax won't be a threat. You know, they'll probably put us, you know, they'll target Trent. They'll actually target our fullbacks and try to force our fullbacks to play like classic fullbacks. That's Ajax's strength. You know, they play classic wingers. But yeah, I think we'll smother them. The key for me is our midfield, the energy in our midfield. You must remember what's made Liverpool successful over the last couple of years. Nobody can keep up with the energy levels. People are accusing the team of being. It's time to go back to basics. And we do that well in away games and Champions Leagues. We absolutely smother the life out of teams and just, you know, let the lads pick them. We did it particularly well in Munich, if you remember, when Mane scored that wonder goal from the Van Dijk long ball. We smothered Bayern Munich. I think I can see a performance like that tomorrow.
Yeah. Lex Van Empel, who is now officially our Dutch correspondent because he's the first Dutchman to
Legend.
comment more than once in our chat. So you are now our Dutch correspondent, Lex. He says, as a Dutchman, I can confirm that Ajax are overrated. Olivia
Well,
says,
just
sorry,
getting back to that fella, sorry. He's made a very good point before that, Gav, where he said, and I didn't know about this, but he says Anthony, a player, young, absolute star for them, is out for the game, which is a massive boost for us. He's been their sort of sensation this season in terms of, they always got one star that stands out. This is the player. This is the kid from Brazil. And if he's out, and if our Dutch scout is right, then that's a big boost for Liverpool.
Well, Lex is now our Dutch correspondent. So
he is our Dutch correspondent.
If you need to know anything about Dutch football, just get onto Lex on YouTube. He'll only take messages on YouTube. He's not giving out email accounts or anything like that. Olivier says levels are low in Netherlands. Is that a joke? As in sea levels? I don't know. But anyway, I watch Dutch football regularly, and the levels are barely above the MLS. I don't watch a lot of Dutch football. If I am watching a bit of Dutch football, it's usually Ajax or PSV because they're the ones that will be on the telly. But lads, Evan Hughes says Bruno. I presume that's a reference to Bruno Fernandes tonight. I actually had a little think about him tonight, and I'm thinking, is it time to take him off penalties? Because this hop, skip, jump thing is not working. Genuinely, I thought he missed one at the weekend at Newcastle. Now he does score after it. Then he misses one tonight, and it gets taken back. So I was just wondering, Evan. Sorry,
missing them.
No, I'm just wondering, Evan, if I presume you're a United fan, if you want to answer me that, because I was having a little think about that earlier when I seen he missed the penalty. But Chris, I think they have some decent players. I think they are quite, like, Pete touches on something there about the energy, and I agree with him when it comes to Ajax. They do have a way of playing. They have a method of playing. And you could argue Liverpool do as well. But I think Liverpool are a bit more adaptable simply because of the quality they have and the numbers they have, that they can change things around. They can go 4-2-3-1. They can sit off you and hit you on the break. They can play the game a load of different ways. And that's why they've been so successful, I suppose, over the last couple of years. But they are going to show an energy, Chris. They are going to come out. They're going to be fired up for this. This is their biggest game of the group. Make no mistakes about it. Your home game against Liverpool for all these three teams is the biggest of the group. And they'll put everything into it. Chris, what do you expect from Ajax tomorrow? Do you think they just play that one way, or do you think they try stand off a little bit? I did see someone in the chat saying that he doesn't feel that Daley Blind will play. I don't know why, but what do you expect from Ajax tomorrow?
High energy, high pressing, and Liverpool to pick them off.
Okay.
I know quite a lot of people saying, we're underestimating them, we're being possibly a bit arrogant, but I think there is a mindset change in some of our fan base, which is, flick it back 2-3 years ago, flick it back to Fergie's United side. If they got this Ajax side, you go, well, they'll win. Well, they've got a few injuries. Yeah, but United will win. They'll find a way. City, they'll find a way, they'll win. We are that team. We will find a way and we will win. That's what I expect in every game. If we don't win, I'll be disappointed. So we've played enough sides that are high quality, high pressing, and we know how to. We've played that way before in like 17, 18, and we got picked off by it, and we've learned how to do that. So I expect us to pick them off. I think we'll sit deep and look to pick them off. Partly to protect the centre backs, and partly because the front three we've got, whichever when they play, that's all you need. So I expect us to win by a couple. And I think it would surprise me. It'd be a bit like the old Salah 17-18. It would be Salah getting through on the counter attack, which we haven't seen for a while because people in England don't play that way against us. I think the Dutch may fall into that trap with us.
Avi says. Sorry, Grizz. Avi says Erik ten Hag is underrated. He sets his team up well in Europe. They have been good in Europe, but they have lost players over the last couple of years. But listen,
I disagree. I disagree with Avi. I don't know how he can say that, and having watched the two legs against Tottenham, that was. I mean, it was like a schoolboy manager. So naive. You get your goal at Wembley early, then you get your goal early in the second leg, and you shut up shop. They just didn't know how. They just kept going at Tottenham. And Lucas Moura, the more Ajax emptied.
Pete's gone again.
I don't understand people. Sorry. Gotcha. I don't understand people looking at Ten Hag and thinking that he's underrated or he's this tactical genius. He showed his tactical arse against Tottenham Hotspur, who
I think
And
you're
that wasn't
being
a great
harsh on
time,
him.
but I mean, their job,
I think you're being harsh on
after
him.
the final. So
He's gone. Is
Come
he
on,
there?
Grizz.
maybe. Just for me, then why aren't Bayern Munich? Why aren't the Bayern Munichs? Why isn't he been picked up by another club?
I think you're being harsh on him because of the
it's-
fact that he had a young team, and for him to reach that far is a very, very massive achievement. You got to remember he also reached the Europa League final as well a couple of seasons ago against United. So it's a young team. He's we often say a coach is only as good as his players, and for him to and they're a young team and they played brilliant football. You could call him naive, maybe. Yeah, I get that. I'd agree with that. But it comes with experience, man. I think he's a very good coach. I think he plays the game the right way.
Chris,
I agree with Abby in terms of he does set them up well. Yeah. But then you've got to have the players to see out certain games, and maybe he doesn't have that.
Let me point something out. Are you there, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're there. Yeah.
Grizz, no, just to answer your point on Ajax. Just to answer your point on Ajax being a young team, they've always had young teams.
Pete's on the verge of making such a brilliant point.
I think he's saying he's pointing out they've always had young teams. And I suppose my argument would be, if you look at that semi-final against Spurs, you don't need to be that experienced player to know last minute of the game, you kick it and keep it in the corner. Forget pretty football and you only play one way. Johan Cruyff only played one way, but he knew how to win he knew how to win a game. And there are times when you've got to be a bit, use your brain and use your talent, and that's where they have to keep it in the corner, which they don't do. Because I get bored with the phrase like, "Oh, he plays football the right way." Well, the right way is winning. It doesn't have to be pretty on the eye. I think if you play football pretty in the eye, I think you get away with a lot of criticism. So that was because in the semi-final, I watched it. I thought, right, just run into the corner, Tadic, and you're sorted. And they tried to get a 4th goal, and you just know it's suicidal.
I mean, that's why I think it's slightly harsh. I mean, I understand the points Peter made, and hopefully he comes back with a chance to elaborate on his points. But to say that he's awful, or I think one of the words he used was awful or something, I think is slightly harsh because he's a fantastic coach of players. And, as you say, Chris, sometimes you need the players to take the responsibility in certain games, certain situations, to do the obvious, the common sense thing. But, generally, they're fantastic. I mean, in that year, it's fair to say they were probably more impressive than us. Like, sort of everyone was talking about Ajax and the football they played all the way until semi-final. In fact, all the way until the last 15 minutes of the Spurs game, wasn't it? Where they were fantastic. So, but yeah, I do rate him. I do rate the coach. But I think, they are a young, energetic, raw team that will only know how one way to play us. But whereas we're a wily old fox now. I think it's fair to say that we've been around the block. We know, as I said earlier, we know different games.
We've done those mistakes.
We've done it. We also know how to sort of deal with games during the game. Our in-game management is second to none, and that's where we very much have the advantage over them, I think.
I want to get into possible lineups for us. A couple of people in the chat have said with regards to
the middle. They don't do that anymore.
Sorry, Pete. I don't know what's going on with Pete there. He just keeps coming in and out, and random words keep coming in my ear. But I want to get into possible lineups, right? So what I'm going to do is, people have said about a couple of different Ajax players and stuff like that, and are they in, are they out? That Daley Blind apparently had a heart issue. So, yeah. So I don't know what the story is there. I don't know whether that.
Huge loss.
Yeah. Listen, if he has a heart issue, geez, I hope he's all right. But
it's that as well.
It's that's pretty awful. Dylan O'Rourke says Pete would want to get the NTL sorted. Yeah, he's having an absolute mare. He's having an absolute mare here tonight. But I'm going to try Adam back in a second. If random words come in my ear, I'll fucking kill him. But air lineup, and Grizz, I'll stick with you because somebody just said there to me now. Flash Gordon there says Adrian, Trent, Fabinho, Gomez, Robbo, Hendo, Gini, Jones, Salah, Mane, Bobby.
It's an interesting shout with Jones.
Yeah, it is an interesting show. The other thing is, I forgot all about this as well. 5 subs. You allow 5 subs. Am I right? I think I am.
Yeah.
So that could have a bearing on the lineup that we play because he could look to leave a couple on the bench, or you jot it in for Bobby Firmino or something along them lines, and bring Bobby on after 60 if he wanted to. So, Grizz, I want you to give me a lineup for this one.
It's a tough one, man. This one, isn't it? It's a proper tough one. I think the back 4 picks itself. I don't think we need to, and I don't want to mention the goalkeeper's name. So we'll go with Trent.
Kelleher.
Yeah, Trent, Fabinho. I'm not going to go like naming him today. I'm trying to go with the whole show without naming him. Fabinho, Gomez, Robbo, and Trent. I think we're going to pick a totally different lineup in midfield. I've just got this hunch. I think he's going to go with absolute fresh pair of legs in there in terms of fresh midfield, fresh minds, energetic. As Pete was saying, swarm them. And I think there's a place for Milner in this team tomorrow, starting. I genuinely do. I genuinely think he may look to rest Hendo.
Barry Devaney agrees.
I think. Oh, well in Baz. I think Milner and Gini, I think, start as our 2 in midfield. I think we may have a slight change in formation, and then I think we go Jota, Minamino, Mane, and Salah through the middle. I think Bobby has a night off. I think Hendo has a night off.
Sorry, give us that midfield again.
4-2-3-1. I think we go very attacking tomorrow. So I think Milner and Gini as the 2 sitting, as the 4-2. Yeah. And then we go Jota, Minamino, Mane, and then Salah up front. I've got a hunch we're going to go 4-2-3-1 tomorrow and really attack them. And also at the same time give us a base of Gini and Milner, steady eddies in there, just to protect Fabinho and Gomez, who possibly Ajax see as our weak link.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. And I presume you're taking into the consideration the 5 subs there, because you have a lot of room for, you have a lot of spec there to move stuff around.
Yeah, I mean, Jones is a very interesting shout. The first message you put up, I think it could equally be Jones thrust in there in one of the 3 positions behind, or in a 3, because Ajax is a game that Jones would enjoy and love, and Klopp would want to see Jones's technical abilities up against an Ajax team full of technicians. Do you know what I mean? One of them ways. It's not going to be, Ajax aren't going to be one of the most physical teams that will sort of bully us off the pitch. They just haven't got the personnel to run us off the pitch kind of thing. And I think Jones is a very good shout. I didn't think of Jones in the lineup. I just think he may not start, but it's a good shout. Whoever, I'm sorry, I didn't remember your name.
Yeah, no, it was a team I put up there. I can't remember who it was. I'll try find it in a second. Dylan O'Rourke has Adrian, Trent, Fabinho, Gomez, Robbo, Milner, Gini, Keita, Salah up top, Mane right, Jota left.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try find that team for you. It's interesting because the 5 subs thing does kind of throw a little bit of a thing into it. Sorry, it was Flash Gordon. You had Adrian, Trent, Fabinho, Gomez, Robbo, Hendo, Gini, Jones, Salah, Mane, Bobby. Flash Gordon, so we have to give him that credit. Somebody says there, well done to Grizz for reading the chat. We're all reading it. I'm trying to keep up with it. It just flies along the screen, and I'll try to pick out what I can as we go. P, please fucking tell me you're walking now.
Should be. If you can hear me, should be.
Yeah,
should be.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. So give us your team for tomorrow.
Obviously, unfortunately, Adrian, Trent, Robbo the other side, Fabinho, Gomez for me. I'd agree with that. I think we go with energy. So Hendo, Gini, and I think Milner. I think Milner plays, and the famous 3 up front. I can't see, particularly with the amount of upheaval we're going through anyway, and some of the. I can see him wanting to keep things calm and get as much. this is not the time to bring in the Minaminos. This is not the time to, as much as I'd like to see Jones get a few minutes, I think that'll happen later on in the group when this is sewn up with 2 or 3 dead rubbers two dead rubbers probably to go. I think he'll try to stabilise as much as he can.
Jeremiah B says Adrian, Trent, Fabinho, Gomez, Robbo, Hendo, Gini, Keita, Mane, Bobby, Salah. Freewood says P has to dial up. Yeah, he does dial up internet tonight. Judy Mania says, will Kelleher still be on the bench tomorrow after falling asleep against Everton? That was him, wasn't it? That was like conked out on behind Klopp. He probably had a long night. Leave him. He's grand. He's grand. Slackline Egypt, I think he's acting the maggot here, but he says Pitaluga, Robbo, Milner, Fabinho, Gini, Hendo, Shaq, Keita, Jota, Mane, Salah. That's a way out, really out there team, but you never know. You never know. Anything could happen. Grizz's team is done. Pete's team is done. Chris, go for it.
Adrian in goal, Trent, Fabinho, Gomez, Robbo, Milner, Keita, Gini, and I think it'd be Jota, Salah, Mane.
Okay. That it just these are shocking me a little bit with these teams. I'm being honest with you. I'm gonna go with Adrian, Trent, Fabinho, Gomez, Robertson. Wijnaldum is 100% starting. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Milner, Wijnaldum, Keita, and I'm going to go. Yeah. I think he will play. I think he could have played. I think he could have played at the weekend, but I'd say he's 100% back. The Jones one is interesting. I think you'll see Jones get a run at some stage. And up front, I'm going to go. Salah definitely plays. I have a feeling he leaves the other 2 out. I think he plays Salah, Minamino, Jota.
Did you start off this team by saying we shocked you with our lineups? Did you really?
Yeah. Because I thought I was going to give a lot. No. You have this the wrong way. I thought I was going to give that lineup of just giving, and you were going to be, Henderson, Wijnaldum, whoever. I thought the way you kind of went a bit mad with it, the way I did.
I think we've changed your mind.
No. I had this in my head earlier because Henderson is still coming back. We can't throw too much football on him. I think Keita needs to play. He needs to play. Wijnaldum only come on near the end of the derby. Now I know he did play a lot for Holland, but I have a feeling there's an argument to give Mane a rest, and Salah just loves playing football. He's a rhythm player. He's an absolute rhythm player. So you leave Salah there, and Jota deserves to get a go. So I think he might just go Minamino with Jota one side and Salah the other. Michael Ramsey says, thank God Klopp isn't English because Jones is another overhyped rubbish. Let me see about you want to play Jones. Michael, thanks for the super chat. I don't know if he's overrated. I don't think he's overhyped. I'm being honest with you. I think he's been managed extremely well in his career. It was a big thing of getting the number 17 jersey after being number 47 or whatever it was, and he'll get his chance. He will get his chance. And listen, all we need is another centre half to go down, and you're looking at Henderson going in there, and Jones will most definitely get his chance. But I wouldn't say he's overrated at all. I think he's going to. I think
he's a bit underrated, to be honest.
Do you know what? I'm not too pushed to rate him. I think he should be just left there to do what he's doing, and he'll come along, and then we'll make it not a decision, but we make an absolute call on him in the next 12 to 18 months. Let me see. Stephen Mack's not happy. Mane rest. Jota lol. Gav. Stephen, just to remind you did tell me a couple of minutes ago to remind you to order a takeaway. I'm not forgetting, so go and order the takeaway.
Or go to sleep, one of the two.
Go to sleep. I'll leave Stephen alone. He's sound. He's absolutely
Drunk.
sound. Drunk. Yeah, most likely. But no, I just think with the 5 subs, I think that's a massive thing. You can absolutely change a game off 5 subs. I know you can only do it over 3 stoppages in the game, can't you? But I think it's an absolute opportunity to not rest people necessarily, but just give them a little bit of time there, and you just say, on you go now at 60 when Ajax make tour and stuff, and we've loads of stuff. Sean Ganguly says Minamino will start. Yeah, I see. Me and him know what the story is. But there you go. Let me see. Kieran says Michael Ramsey does beyond coppish with super chats. He doesn't rate half our team. I can't make out if he's serious when he super chats or acting the MAGA. I don't mind. If he's serious, great. If he's acting the MAGA, great. It's I don't mind at all. Everyone's entitled to come in here and say exactly what you want to say. We're not going to mask these comments or moderate them at all. You say what you want. Slackline Egypt come back and says, completely serious, mate. Pitaluga, Ajax is mostly young fellas. Robbo, Milner, Fabinho and Gini. Trent needs to be on the bench. Keita, Hendo, Shaqiri, Jota, Mane, Salah. Okay, yeah. Well, listen, it makes more sense after I've just read out my team, in fairness. Let me see. I'm too late. Stephen Max says I'm 30 minutes late. For
3 p.m. I'll have the team.
3 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, 3 p.m. I'll have the team.
No worries. All inquiries to Grizz's email address, which is on his Twitter bio. So there you go. Jacob Zimmerman says, Gav, you need to quit drinking and start smoking pot, mate. No, I'm mad enough in the head without starting all that messing. I'm being honest with you. It wouldn't go well. And Grizz wouldn't be happy about it, especially if I misspelled something in the description below. Grizz is...
Gav's high enough without pot, mate.
Yeah. We don't need to be adding that sort of messing into the equation. No, we not, Chris.
No, man, that's asking for trouble.
That'd be like that'd be like putting Grizz on Andy's Jersey milk, the special milk that Andy buys for £8 a litre, and we can't be doing that. Jeremiah says, fucking hell. Jeremiah says, Gav, cocaine is the way to go. What the fuck is going on here? I don't know what's going on here, but no, I'm not having that. Let me see. Rajiv gives a shout out to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Answer podcast. Love your shows. Very balanced fan. Good to see you on YouTube and listens to comments. The Chronicles of a Gooner is, of course, Harry. Isn't it, Chris? Harry.
That's the one. Harry Semedo, yeah.
The second name always kills me. But Harry is just a top bloke. If you like, you probably don't support Arsenal, but he's very, very good at what he does, and he is extremely, extremely balanced. Oh, Sten Solly says Grizz is trying to get a Victorian Times mustache. Grizz, explain yourself.
I'm not trying, lads. I'm not trying. This is natural. It's natural. I'm not trying. There's a difference between... You see how people try this? Because, November's coming up. Movember, sorry, I should say. So I'm just getting in there early. And to me, it's natural. Because, my one grows like everyone's grows on a weekly basis. But mine grows like on a literally hourly basis. So... Yeah, I'm grand. Man.
Next week, you got to bring a top hat with you next week and a bit of a cane and a monocle. Proper. It'll dominate. It'll dominate.
Yeah, I will. Well, how many likes we got? If we get enough likes, then I can sort that out.
Yeah, the new Moriarty.
I don't know how many likes we have. We stopped asking for them. It's just your obligation to hit the like button. If you do, you do. If you don't, what can we do about it? There's nothing we can do about it. But if you do like what we're doing, hit the like button. Share it across your social media.
But I shall tell you, a lot of people that try to do this moustache, they always try to use.
I was in the middle of a sentence there.
Oh, sorry.
And it was about moustaches.
Calm the fuck down. I'll let you explain the ins and outs of moustaches now in a second. Somebody did say there that Harry's... There we go. Olivier says Harry schooled the 90-minute crew yesterday. Grizz was okay too. And the Chronicles of a Gooner, who is Harry Simiu. Is that all right?
That's the one.
Said, thank you, lads. Keep up the great work. Smash that like button. No, seriously, if you want... Harry talks all sorts of football as well. He's deadly. Go and listen to him. But yeah... like, share. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, because apparently 40% of people that watch this haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Just hit it.
Subscribe.
Hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell icon. As soon as we go live, you'll know about it. And listen, you're getting it all as much as we can a week, and we're not asking for anything for it, which is...
Well, they're getting more as well, Gav. They're getting more, I don't know if you don't want to put it out there, or maybe...
They're getting more this week. Well, this show is an extra show. the midweek fix is on tomorrow, which will be a reaction to the game. Thursday we have James Pearce at 7 p.m. live. We're going to talk to James about Liverpool, but we're going to mostly talk to him about the book he's involved with from The Athletic called At the End of the Storm, which is a book with stories from The Athletic throughout the 2019-20 season. I'm a good bit through it now at the moment, and I have to say it's absolutely excellent. Reading stories from last August about Liverpool, knowing what's coming, is a brilliant way to read a book. It's fucking brilliant. I can tell you the first chapter in it is from James Pearce. He's over in America talking to Tom Werner, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant when you're reading the words on the page and you know what's coming in May, June, or July 2020. It's fabulous. So 7 o'clock. Thursday.
They're getting to some unbelievable work, aren't they?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
The lads at The Athletic. I mean, they've all sorts going on.
Loads of stuff going on, but this book has got James Pearce, Oliver Kay, Simon Hughes, and loads of other writers from The Athletic. So if you get a chance, go and have a look at it. It's brilliant. But we're going to talk to James Pearce at 7 o'clock live on Thursday. And Friday, we are going to have our Premier League preview on Friday with the Friday forecast. And Joe from All Leeds TV is on, and I know a lot of our viewers love him. Grizz, tell us about the moustache. Go on.
Oh no, we've got past
no,
the
you
moment
said
now.
the start of it was
gone.
no. What you said was, well, what happens with most people with a moustache is, and you weren't getting there.
No.
It was something about, I think it was you were putting hair gel in it or something.
Yeah, well, no, this is what I was going to say. Someone in the comments was saying, "What do I use?" And I totally forgot about the show. I started replying to that fella like it's only me and him on the show, so apologies for that. But he asked me like, what do I use to sort of keep it curled up? And this is what I want to say, that it's
fingers.
natural. It's just my fingers. Like people use wax and beard oil and all sorts, and gel. But for me, it's pretty
crisp
natural.
and dry.
Yeah. Mine just naturally sort of twirls up like that. But I'll clean it up tomorrow, and people have a better sort of visual of it, and then an understanding of how it works.
Do you want a video? Do you want to video yourself doing that, and I can lash it on the YouTube channel?
No.
Tidying it up.
No. You don't go that far.
We'll go that far, mate.
Look, well, I just wanted to say it's all natural. Yeah, I don't need to do nothing. Don't need to put anything on it. Just sleep.
Okay. You don't need to do that with it. Just sleep.
Just sleep and it grows overnight.
Okay. Sim, sorry, before we get your predictions on the game, Sim asks, and I'm afraid to ask this because I don't know what this means, but he says, Grizz, are you Raja by any chance?
Yeah, Sim
What's that mean?
That I am. It's a caste. It's a certain caste in from Pakistan. So I'm on that caste system.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's a caste?
So
it's just like a family, like a family tree sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a very good way of saying it. Yeah, so I'm from the Raja family tree type of thing. So yeah, Sim, I'm a Raja. I think you are as well. That's what you asked.
Ryan Edwards says, "Let the dog lick it," is the secret.
Yeah, no, not for me.
Okay.
Yeah, not for
just
me.
listen. Anto G123 says, "Up the Raja." I know where you're going with that, and fair play to you. But good play on words. I like it. Before we go, lads, Pete's disappeared again on us. But before we go, predictions, score predictions, and you know the rules. You have to do score predictions, and you have to tell us the Liverpool score. So, Chris, go on.
3-1 Liverpool. Salah.
Scores.
Let's go. Salah, Jota, and Trent.
Okay. Pete, I'm going to try to get your prediction out of the way before you fall off the earth again. Give us your prediction and Liverpool scorers, please.
I said 3-1 last night, but I'm going to go 4-1. Even more confident tonight than I was last night. Salah, I think Salah will smash 2. Firmino, finally, we'll get one, and I think we'll get one from a surprise quarter, maybe a free kick from Trent. So yeah, I'm going to go 4-1.
Okay.
Best to score for, of course.
Okay. Brian Murray says, Gavs from the Dutch Gold Clan, I am in my hole. You're not drinking that stuff. I draw the line. You know, I'm not a man of many standards, but that's one of them, and it's definitely Dutch gold, Brian. So sorry about that. Let me see. I'm going to try read this right. Cheese Van de Glind says AFC Ajax XXX Ajax fan. Good man. Enjoy the game tomorrow. And let me see. There was someone else in here had 6-0. I think it was Dylan. It might have been Dylan O'Rourke actually. Michael Ramsey's back. He's back. Here we go. It doesn't matter which formation LFC plays because the centre-back pairing of Sick Donkey and Gomez can't jump or stop crosses and very poor at set pieces. My God, Michael is... I think he's genuine and he is upset. But give us your score prediction, Michael. He's a little bit upset. Sick Donkey. I think Sick Donkey is...
Matip,
might be Matip. But Matip's not playing.
But he's not playing. Okay.
Okay. Olivier has 4-1. Jota gets 2. Salah, Minamino. Stephen Max says 3-2 to Liverpool. It's a toss-up for the goal scorers. Ryan Edwards says 4-4. Nico, Origi, Hendo, Gomez. Fuck me. If you want to put a bet on that, you won't have to walk ever again. Let me see. So, 4-1 from P. 3-1 from Chris. Grizz, give us your 2-2 there. I mean, move on.
No. This ain't no 2-2. This is
3-3.
This is. I was going to say 4-1. But Chris is. Pete's took that off me.
Stick with it. Keep the faith, Grizz.
Go with 5.
Yeah. I know. I'm going to go. I would have said 4-1, but then I remembered who we got in goal again, so I'd say 4-2.
Okay.
Always
4-2.
Always +1.
Okay. Well,
go into it this season.
Barry Carr has 4-2 to LFC. Michael Ramsey's back. Ajax wins 7-2. He's taking the piss. I like it though. I like it. Stay with us, Michael. Make sure you've subscribed. I like the likes of Michael. I really do. Worse than Kepa says Grizz go with 2-2. No, he's gone with 4-2. 1-1. I have a feeling in my bones, says Avo. Let me see.
Yeah, after 10 minutes.
Ricketts that.
Yeah.
After 10 minutes, yeah, Pete.
Antoine Weiss says LFC 3, Ajax 2. A lot of high scoring here. I'm going for 2-2, lads. I have to tell you. I am going for 2-2. I'm going for 2-2. I am. I think we'll mess around with our team a little bit. Like I just said earlier, I think it'll throw us out of sync a little bit. I think Ajax will be well up for it, but they are deceptive to us catching them. And I think it'll end up with a 2-2 draw where Ajax rescue the game late. That's what I think. So there you go. Go. Trigger TV says 4-2 to Liverpool. Let me see who have I got. Cruzdo says it's got to be high scoring, 5-3. A lot of people going for high scoring. Malcolm says 2-1 to Liverpool. Let me see. Here we go. Olivier says Adrian must have caused Grizz in the EPL fantasy for certain. This is now personal. As if he'd pick him.
Ever fucking pick Adrian. Outrageous shout.
Just listen.
Absolutely outrageous.
Yeah.
Susceptible. Adrian or Allison?
Yeah. I think I said deceptive. Did I there? I should have said susceptible. Thanks, Barry. Let me see. 4-2 says Owen Fleming. Katie gets 2 goals, says Telson Mitchell. So there you go. There's loads of coming in, but the one thing that's reading through on this is high scoring seems to be the way to go. Grizz, anything else before we go?
No, pal, that's good. Yeah, kind of as usual with our shows, I'm kind of psyched up for the game now. You know, I wasn't at the start, to be honest with you, but we've I think we've painted a very exciting picture for tomorrow. So suddenly I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, let's go get them.
Okay. Pete, anything else before we go other than the details for some decent internet?
Exactly. No, just Champions League belly. You know, we wake up in the morning and go, oh yeah, 18 hours to the game, 7 hours to the game. You know yourself. It's 3 points, all that matters.
Okay. Chris, anything else before we go?
No, mate. That's just on countdown now for the big game.
Good stuff. Well, look, enjoy the game tomorrow. Hopefully Liverpool go and do the business and prove me completely wrong. And we will be back tomorrow at 10 p.m. with the match reaction, the midweek fix match reaction to Ajax versus Liverpool in the Champions League. Tomorrow's night's lineup is Keith is hosting, Grizz, myself and Gabriel. I'm going to send them all 50p
Gabriel.
each. I'm going to send them all 50p each to put in the meter because I forgot to send Peter, and he's just refused to put his own 50 pence in. So I'll make
Fibre
sure that.
optic broadband. State of the art, I have, by the way, lads. Shame on you. It's
You're
your
just having-
broadband.
You're just having an awful issue tonight, Peter. I'm being honest with you, but that's how it goes. Right, I'm going to try stop this show by putting a picture up on the screen, and the lads will mute themselves so they don't hear themselves after this, and then I'll let them know that the coast is clear. That's how it works most weeks. But listen, it's been a great show. I've really enjoyed it. And listen, make sure you subscribe. We're with you all week. What's his name? James Pearce, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Really good chat. Talk to you then. Over now.